Hi guys, Vino here and welcome to this Vino Plunk production, and in this video we're going to be talking about the certain missteps companies are making with 4Ks. Is it the Blu-ray, the rush to Blu-ray craze all over again, or is there something a bit deeper when it comes to what's going on with 4K? What am I talking about? Well, it seems recently a lot of 4Ks have been coming out, especially with some companies trying to wrangle with the HD, I want to say architecture, the HDR technology, and what they're producing is not really what people want to see. Films like The Good, The Bad and The Ugly getting multiple releases. One that looked more like it took place with a yellow sun, and one that took place like it had a blue sun, completely differently color graded from each version. What on earth is going on with the 4K situation? Disney have even partnered up with Criterion to release some of their films to the masses in Criterion treatment, to get the Criterion treatment, I should probably say. And yet Criterion releases as of late have been questionable at best. You also get sets, big expensive sets, like the recent Middle-earth set that came out and the Skywalker Saga set that came out. Although you don't have to necessarily buy those super expensive sets, you can buy those 4K releases individually or in a far cheaper form, but those sets are very expensive. We're talking £200 recommended retail price. I have both of them over there. In fact, one was in the front room. I'll probably go and get one in a moment and show you guys. But it is, and basically what's going on with them is what went on when Blu-ray first came out is DNR, or 4K's version of DNR, which seems to be plasticine skin. It's nowhere near as bad as I think as Blu-ray's DNR is, or was, should I say, and I look to Terminator 2. Terminator 2 is a situation where, if you don't know, when Terminator 2 came to Blu-ray, it was shockingly bad, okay? So when you shoot on film, you get a thing called film grain. It's part of film, okay? In digital, you get noise, okay? The problem when it comes to film grain is some people who are given the footage think it's digital noise. Now, you want to cut down on digital noise. You can actually see in the footage I'm shooting right now, it's sort of speckly. That's digital noise, okay? And that's because at the moment I'm shooting in a lighting that's not exactly synced up with this camera. Long story short, the better the lighting, the better it's going to look. And if a scene isn't shot that well, you're going to get some noise. You're going to get some noise anyway in certain situations, which is why, and I always refer to the Avengers films, why they look so clean and you know, all that kind of stuff. It's because they're shot digitally and they're shot on really high-end cameras that can cope with all that. But it's when a, you know, maybe an apprentice or a intern or a budding restorer gets given this footage and thinks that film grain is digital noise. We get Terminator 2 on Blu-ray. It's only recently that they finally managed to release a Blu-ray that actually stands up to the treatment, to be honest, that Terminator 2 deserves. And then what did they go ahead and do? They released Terminator 2 in 4K, and we repeat the process all over again. The 4K Terminator 2 that originally came out was, again, diabolical. Nowhere near as bad in terms of DNR than the Blu-ray version, but there's this weird new situation going on with 4K that I like to call plasticine skin, and it's basically the same thing. It's a different kind of DNR. I'm not technically minded enough or know the technical ins and outs, but basically people just look really smeary. Now, the funny thing with it is, I actually seem to like this look for some really weird reason. I actually really like the look of the new of the 4K transfers of the Star Wars films. I like the look of the 4K transfers of the Lord of the Rings and Middle-earth films. Maybe I'm crazy. Maybe I'm not a true film fan. Who knows? But I seem to like the look of those. However, there are some film fans out there that look at them and go, ho, ho, ho. And it's especially evident in the darker scenes. So when I just said that, you can see digital noise in the footage that I'm recording right now, because this room is a bit darker than maybe this camera really wants it to be. So it's upping the game, it's upping the exposure in order to make sure you can see me properly. That's what digital cameras do. The darker it gets, the more grainy it gets. The same thing with film, because instead of a digital sensor trying to process that light, there's literally light, like not crystals, but there's light activating ingredients in there. And the darker the images, the more grain you're going to get. Now, one particular reviewer of the Middle-earth 4K set that came out was set, because there were two of them, and then they released them in a much, much bigger set that came out later on. There should be film grain, especially on the darker scenes. It shouldn't be pitch black to the point where you can't see literally anything. There should be grain in the darker scenes. They're not, which means there's some kind of DNR going on, and they have compared them to the Blu-rays and the DVDs and things of that nature. There was definite film grain in the Blu-rays and the DVDs, and yet for some really weird, strange reason, on the 4Ks, there is no film grain in the darker areas, which means, again, some kind of DNR is being applied to these 4K releases. I can't remember the name of the film off the top of my head right now, but Criterion had to literally recall thousands of copies of a particular film because it had a glitch, a soundtrack glitch in there. Not only that, we've got Criterion, again, a very prestigious label, releasing 4K Blu-rays with the wrong soundtracks or the wrong mixes on the wrong part. Imagine booting up on your 4K TV with your 4K Blu-ray player. Imagine booting up a nice, Dolby Atmos track, only to be greeted with the mono track. Yes, that has actually, believe it or not, happened. It reminds me of the whole Battlestar Galactica playback Universal on DVD saga. If you want to know more about that, there is a video that I'm going to be reshooting very soon about all of that. Long story short, when Universal Playback originally brought Battlestar Galactica to DVD here in the UK, it was shambolically done. I'm talking about special features in the options menu, i.e. the subtitle menu. You can literally go to the subtitle menu on one of the discs of the DVDs and find a special feature with inside that a commentary track or a behind the scenes, whatever it is, a special feature is in the subtitle menu of one of the DVDs. Not only that, but one of the more sought after, one of the more liked special features, behind the scenes featurette, if you will, is actually hidden as an Easter egg, again, in one of the options menu, and shouldn't be. It should be there freely available. It shouldn't have to be an Easter egg. It should be there freely available. But anyway, I'll be doing a follow-up video at some point talking about the diabolical release that was the Universal Battlestar Galactica, Universal Playback Battlestar Galactica DVD releases here in the UK. They finally corrected them with the Blu-ray releases, but maybe that was too little, too late. Oh yeah, they corrected them with the Blu-ray releases, then released a DVD Ultimate set to fans in the UK, only for that DVD Ultimate set to be the exact same discs as they released before, just repackaged. Yes, Battlestar Galactica fans were not happy. I'm talking about the 2003/4 remake or reboot, and there's another reboot coming down the road. But why is 4K proving so hard for production companies, labels to wrangle with? I think it's just because they're trying to... I think there's a disconnect. There's a dichotomy going on at the moment where physical media is definitely on the decline, And all of these companies are trying to rush these movies, or whatever they may be, this media to 4K to capitalize and to to fully capitalize, to fully capitalize and take advantage on while they can. And it's proving to, there's mistakes being made. There's literal glitches in some of these 4K releases. They're being color coded wrong. It's kind of diabolical, to be honest, for a format that's still premium. There's still films out there asking for, £30 or $30 a release. And if I'm being honest, if they're going to start releasing 4Ks in as bad quality as some of the ones that have been released, then they need to lower the price of 4K or do a far better job. If they need to up the price of 4K in order to do a better job with these releases, then do so and take your time with them. And it still boggles my mind that Criterion, of all labels, are one of the labels that are having these issues. Anyway, I wanted to have a bit of a chat about what's going on with the 4Ks, why are all the 4Ks releasing in the state they're releasing, and can you trust 4K as a format? Is the added resolution, HDR, and all the other benefits you get with 4K, is that worth the shoddy releases that we are getting? And it's funny that all these companies are trying to save money by rushing to market with these films, and then later down the road they're having to cost themselves more money again because they're having to re-release these releases because they were done so shoddily in the first time. Food for thought. Until next time, guys, please take care, and as always, enjoy the rest of your day. Ta-ra.